Coming up this morning, even more Virginia lawmakers are now embroiled in the political turmoil that all began with a racist yearbook photo. And back here in Kentucky, Governor Matt Bevin delivered his last State of the Union State of the Commonwealth address in his first term. And parents of children killed in the Marshall County school shooting fight to keep other families from experiencing the same tragedy.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Good morning. It is 6:33 on Friday, February the 8th. Thank you for tuning in to Mountain News This Morning. Brandon, it's been raining a lot the past couple of days. We get some relief in that aspect. A lot of people are going to wish we could keep around the temperatures that we saw the past 2 days, but we can't.
Can you say that day one more time?
Friday.
Oh, yes. But unfortunately, as you said, the weather is changing and changing quickly. Let's get into it this morning. Live pinpoint Doppler radar. The good news is we're drying out quite nicely this morning. Most of the heavy moisture is gone, and what little bit's left, maybe just a little bit of drizzle or some flakes. But again, I think it's still too warm in a lot of areas to even be seeing that. 32 in Somerset, 42 in Hazard, 43 Logan, 37 Pikeville, 34 London. Current temperatures, wind speeds, though, continue to crank there, and you're seeing some wind chills because of that. Low 20s out toward the Lake Cumberland area, teens and even single digits into central Kentucky back toward Louisville. The out-the-door forecast for you, though, this morning, temperatures will stabilize. Let's put it that way as we go into the afternoon. They'll drop just a little bit more, and then we'll see again some sunshine later today, and that's going to make for a fairly nice afternoon, even if it is a bit chilly. I'll have the rest of the forecast coming up here in a few minutes. Will?
All righty, Brennan, we'll be back with you. Well, the political fallout in Virginia grew yesterday. It was revealed that a powerful Republican state senator was an editor of a 1968 college yearbook that included racist photographs and slurs. CBS News' Nicole Killian has the latest from Washington.
Virginia became even more embroiled in political scandals on Thursday.
I said it was absolutely abhorrent.
Republican State Senate Majority Leader Tommy Norman is under fire for his role as managing editor of the Virginia Military Institute's 1968 yearbook. The book contains racist slurs and photos, including blackface.
My responsibility had nothing to do with photographs. It had nothing to do with editing what was written in there.
Norman condemned the use of blackface, but also condemned his opponents for wanting to engulf Republican leaders in the ongoing saga. Democratic Governor Ralph Northam bases calls to step down after this photo surfaced from his 1984 medical school yearbook page. Northam says he's not in the photo, but he did admit to wearing blackface on another occasion. Virginia Attorney General Mark Herring said Wednesday he wore blackface to a college costume party in 1980.
If that's what they're standing for, yes, I think they should resign.
Look how far this country came behind racism, and he's showing that it still exists.
Late Thursday, U.S. Senate and congressional lawmakers from Virginia released a joint statement calling for Governor Northam to resign and said Attorney General Herring must, quote, stand ready to answer questions from the public if he is to regain their trust. And Lieutenant Governor Justin Fairfax, who is next in line to succeed Northam, denies sexual assault allegations from a California professor in an alleged 2004 encounter at the Democratic National Convention. Nicole Killian, CBS News, Washington.
Now, several Democratic presidential candidates called for an investigation into the allegations against Lieutenant Governor Justin Fairfax, saying they thought the woman's account was credible. Well, Governor Matt Bevin here in Kentucky gave his fourth and final State of the Commonwealth address of his first term last night. Bevin is seeking re-election. In his speech before a joint session of the Kentucky House and Senate, he touted what he believes are accomplishments under his leadership. The governor took only a moment to touch on pensions, saying it is obvious more work needs to be done, but he's proud of legislature funding annual payments for pensions.
This is the first administration, supported in turn by legislation that came out of this body, that has ever funded 100% of the ARC, ever.
The governor then pointing to pro-life legislation, praising what has been passed, even those that are having to be defended in court. Some stood in show of support while others notably stayed seated. Well, Kentucky senators will hear the school safety bill later today, following a hearing yesterday with the Senate Education Committee. Lawmakers have named school safety as their top priority with Senate Bill 1. That would create a state school security marshal, improve training for school resource officers, and require certain people to have annual active shooter training. The biggest issue is finding a way to pay for it. But for the parents of 2 students killed inside Marshall County High School last year, it's worth the price to protect students.
We can go through and protect our government buildings, our airports, our sports stadiums. Why are we not protecting our kids? They're more important than anything. This is the future of our state, our country.
The bill committee made some minor changes to the bill before sending it to the Senate floor. Well, a store in Whitesburg had donated items stolen from their front doorstep Sunday night, and now they want to know who did it. I talked to police about the crime and the investigation. It was a brazen crime.
It took a lot of courage for them to do it. You know, they may not have, I don't know what they were thinking.
Courage to steal from a store that sits right across the street from City Hall and the police.
You know, you're right across the road from the police department and the fire department. I mean, there's somebody always here.
But beyond that, the people they were stealing from are trying to help people who need it most.
They provide a good service to the community, to the people of the city, to the people of Letcher County.
Now, this isn't the first time they have dealt with people stealing. Items left out front get taken all the time, but this time it's different. On this occasion, you can see an adult get out of this car, only to be followed by a child, something that the owner, who lives out of state, says is the most disturbing. She says God will take care of those who stole from them.
We do ask that, that you come forth, let us know who you are.
And they'll pursue charges to hopefully teach everyone a lesson. Now, police believe the car involved is a silver newer model Chevy Malibu, Impala, or Cruise. Anyone with information is asked to call Whitesburg Police. Well, a former WKU student will spend 4 years behind bars. Peter Gall admitted in November to shooting Kenneth Davis. Gall said the two had been play fighting after a day of drinking and tailgating outside a football game, and the shooting was accidental. Davis grew up in Corbin. Well, Hacienda Healthcare says it will close the unit where a severely disabled woman was impregnated last year. The company says there are 37 patients at that particular facility. The board of directors of Hacienda voted last week on the change, and it has been working with state agencies on a transition plan. The former nurse accused of sexual assault in the case has pleaded not guilty in a Maricopa County court. 36-year-old Nathan Sutherland is being held on $500,000 bail. He will make his next court appearance during a March 19th pretrial conference. The alleged victim has been relocated. Let's head on over to Brandon at the Weather Wall for another look at your weather. And we are on the struggle bus today, right, Brandon?
Listen, I like the Brandon better. The Brandon is over here with the weather, and we're going to tell you about it this morning. And things are pretty quiet now after a very active overnight. And yes, we are driving the struggle bus this morning. We're looking at clearing skies, though, back across central Kentucky. We're going to continue to see that trend throughout the day. Clouds first, though, so temperatures will continue to fall for a little bit there as the cold front continues its passage. Down to 30 now in Somerset, 42 here in Hazard, and 36 over toward Pikeville. Temperatures across the state could be worse. We could be down into 21 like Owensboro is, or 20 like Paducah, but a lot of cold air filtering in behind this. The good news is temperatures should stabilize a little bit as we head deeper into the day, getting into the 30s, mid-30s again by this afternoon under sunny skies. Will?
All righty, Brandon, thank you. We will have stories trending on WYMT.com next. Thank you for joining us on Mountain News this morning. Coming up after the break, a Montana cat that spends most of its time outdoors is back inside after being found nearly frozen to death in the snow.